Alright, let's see if we can knock out the basic setup for moves in this session. So I guess what we want to do is we'll quickly create a side menu. So we need two folders. We want one called scripts. These are in the root. So down here we've got scripts, and we want another one called strings. Again, I'm following reasonably closely the core RPG way of doing these things. It won't be identical, but it'll be pretty close. So we want the usual data library. It's just a script name. It'll create a blank script for us here, and we will just do a function on init. We want this to run as when the table loads. Oops. And we will close that off. Now let's just fix a couple of bits up here. Okay, so we've got the A record type is moves. We want to be able to export it. That's so you can make modules and stuff. Data map moves and reference move. These just duplicate these settings. S record display class moves. Sidebar category player. So we've got a couple of options: campaign, player, and create. For this one, it's player. And that's the bare minimum stuff that we want there. Now we also need to create a string record so that it can display the text moves on the sidebar entry. So we'll go over here to strings, and we'll create a new XML document. We'll call this one somewhere got some sort of glitch happening on my system just at the moment with some of these new window frames. I don't know if it's the latest update on my system, but anyway, we'll call this strings. We can have just one strings file, or we could just do this one for sidebar. Right, create that, and we need to add a record in there for moves. Shut. Okay, tab. String label record type label moves. This part here has to match the reference over here, and then this is what will display on the button. Typically it's the same, but it might not always be exactly the same. So let's push those, and we'll see if we get a sidebar entry happening. This is a process that will repeat several times as we go through. And okay, we've got under player, we've got moves. Now possibly that should go under campaign. Anyway, we'll work that out a bit later. And we've got an icon here that we might choose to change at a later stage. I'm not going to deal with that just at the moment, but if we click this, we get the standard campaign tool list, and if we create an entry in here, it'll be of moves type. Now remember, we've got no content in here just at the moment. Awesome, and we have got the lock unlock button. That's fantastic. Alright, awesome. So let's get back into filling out the fields down here. So we'll go back to our moves content. And remember, we can go right to the top and right to the end here because we have, our frame has got space around it inside our sub-window. So we're going to start with a label, and the label is going to be class. We're not going to change anything to do with the fonts. We're going to set the positioning though. So we want it to be at 0, 0 for the moment, and I'm going to leave the width at 100 just for the moment because some of these things are going to be wider, and we'll replicate it. Now, class was going to be a string, so we'll take a string field, drop it over here. Firstly, let's lock that. Let's give this a name, class label, and then let's grab our new string. We'll call it class. We'll set the X position to be 105, so 5 pixels after the other one ends, and the Y position 0. And we can see we've got a bit of room here to play with. That's what have we got at, say 190, 215, and we can set the horizontal anchor to both. Alright, so let's take that one. We'll duplicate it. Probably not the right one to duplicate. We'll drop it down 25 pixels. Now we've got to change a few things here. So Class is going to be type, and this will be type label. And over here we've got we nuke that one, but we'll check out its size. We've got 215, 105. It's locked. We're going to add a string cycler. Now this height is 30 pixels, so that does create a bit more of a buffering that we have to account for. Let's quickly just drop this one down by another 5 pixels. Okay, and type, we're going to have to put some items in here. So we want, so the type is going to be something like basic. And we'll do advanced. And we'll just do those two for the moment because we'll have a look at the other options a little bit later. So we've got basic and advanced, something just to get that populated. We're going to change this field at some point. This field dark will give it a different type of field. We'll leave it as it is for the moment. Now, neither of these fields can grow, as in they can't come down the page. So we don't need to worry. Anchoring is fine for the moment, everything just being anchored directly to the top corner. But the next one is going to be different. So we've got Control C, Control V. Should be close. We'll call this one, the text will be description. And description label. Now I think we can see here we've got string cycler 1. Of course that's not correct. We want this one just to be called type. Okay. Now we need a formatted text field for description. Now we've got two options here. We can, so I'll add in a formatted text field first. What is that position? It's 60 down and 105 in. So 60 here, 105 here. This will be 215. And the height doesn't really matter. We're going to go with something a bit smaller, 80, but we're going to set it to, well, first we'll name it. And then, but we're going to set it to can grow true. Anchoring is still left and top, that's fine. But this field can grow if the content is longer than what can be displayed. Now, that's one option for setting up description. And it's narrower, but it keeps our columns all nice and neat. But sometimes say you get a couple of long words in here, and then you end up with like half lines almost empty. So another option for description is, if we unlock that, if we drop it down 20 pixels, move it all the way across, and we can make it instead the width 320, I think. Yep. And probably that's going to end up taking up less space, even though it's taking up an extra 20 pixels to start with. This extra width here, I think, will count. Now, our next field is another string cycler. So let's copy this one. Control C, Control V. Drop it down below the previous one. Let's keep all this stuff anchored or locked. Sorry. Now, this label is going to be attribute. We're going to have attribute label. We're going to call this one attribute. And we need some values in there. So we've got 6 attributes, but we also need nothing. So we want strength. So the first line is the one that will be displayed, and the second line is what will be stored in the database. And so I always put them lowercase because it's just easier to string match against them. constitution. Okay, this again might change as well. The none one may disappear. Now, this is something we do have to do though. Let's first block these. Now, we need to anchor these vertically below description because description can grow. So, stack with control, and the field is called description. And stack with control description. These ones can't grow. And now we've got 4 string fields, so let's copy them from the top here. Control C, Control V. Okay. So let's anchor it. Now the first one is called 6 or lower, and we'll call it result 6 label, and this one will be called result 6, but we have to do something extra in here. We're going to set it to grow. It's going to be a multi-line description. Maybe it should be formatted text, who knows. It's not at the moment, but we have to anchor all of these things to we're going to anchor them to this one. So look, this will be stacked with description, and this one will be stacked with description. Alright, let's duplicate this. We've got, we'll lock it. This one will be called 7 to 10. It's going to stack with control result 6. This is going to be called result 7 label, and this will be called, oh, it's first going to anchor to result 6, and it's going to be called result 7. It can grow, again, great. Let's duplicate it again. Lock it. Now that is not correct, that should be 7 to 9. This one should be 10 plus, and that's it for most roles, top out of 10 plus, but we're going to anchor that to 7, call it result. Result 10. Label. There is occasional roles that will support a roll of 12. If you roll 12 or plus, you get a different bonus. So a slight twist on standard PBTA, but we'll just create some support for it as well. So this will be on a 12 plus. Now, some of these fields are going to be blank on some roles, and that's okay. Result 12 label, and anchored 10, and it's called result 12. Alright, we also need to add some locking code. Let's quickly have a look at what that code is. I'm going to copy it off a previous project. So firstly on moves, we need to put some stuff in here. So I'm putting this code, function unlock changed, on the window class, not on the lock. Okay, so on this, so and if content, just a sub window, blah, 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 blah. So we've got a field here called name, and we want to lock and unlock that when this lock changes. But then we also want to run the update function on our sub window when this lock changes. Back to our content. We're going to put it again on the window class, not on any of the elements. That didn't work. Okay, so when the window launches, it's going to run the update function, and also when the lock changes on moves, it will trigger this function to run. Now we've got class and type, description, attribute, result 6, 7, 10, and 12. They all look pretty good. So let's try and push that, and we'll see if we have something usable. We also need to add just some sort of spacer or something below here. It's just a quirk of the layout or functioning. So we'll just put a custom control down here. We can set it to invisible, true. Size could be 2020. If we want to anchor it to result 12, and we'll just call it spacer. Alright, let's push that and go check out our rule set. Lots and lots of reloading when you're doing this sort of stuff. Okay, so we're not working the character sheet, we're working in moves. We've got our move that we didn't actually create last time, and it hasn't worked. Why not? Let's just call this one hack and slash. I wonder if I didn't actually push it. Alright, we might have saved it and not published it, so we'll push that and we'll reload the table again. Alright, fingers crossed. I'm missing something here. Okay. Here it is. For some reason, somehow, I didn't put the class here for the sub-window. So I've clicked on sub-window, and it's called content, and I've got to add the class name in there. Silly mistake. Okay, let's fire up hack and slash. And okay, got some errors. At least that's a moves class typo. Okay, easy fix. It is of course called moves content. Yay! Okay, this is working. All right, so we've got class. All right, we've done something wrong here. My string isn't showing up. My cycler here is working between basic and advanced. We can add the description, and I need to add a minimum height on the description. So yellow is okay. So it's expanding, and it expands down. Our attributes, we can choose our different attributes. And we can also, okay, I have to set multi-line spacing, I think, on these to allow these to grow. So a couple more settings we've got to adjust. I'm thinking that we should change this class name. I wonder if the word class is reserved. So we'll call that M class, which means we also have to change it down here, M class. And we'll change the label to M class label. Not absolutely required. And I wonder if type, might run into problems later on. I'm using M as in for moves. M type. Okay, we'll store that. Okay, now let's check these. I need to add a multi-line spacing. We'll try 18. Try that for all of them. I can actually select all these fields and type multi-line spacing in there, set them all in one go. Nice. And for this one as well, although I've set a height of 80, when I set the can grow, it messes with this. So I need to also set the minimum height to 80 also. And let's push that out, see what we see. Okay, back to our hack and slash move, and alright, we're getting closer. Type. Okay, I didn't change the lock script for type, but class is still not quite working properly. We can see that this is working. I can actually select all of these and select all of these and Control J, remove the spaces. Type basic. Now class for some reason isn't there. I need to work out what that one is. If I lock these, we've got our script error. So it's stopping the rest of the script from running. Okay, let's go fix it. Lock them all. Now this class 2 and 5 horizontal anchor, both. That should be fine. Vertical anchor top. Name M class. It's a string field. I'm not seeing what the problem is here with this one. It's pretty much identical to these others. Okay, let's fix M type there. What else did we have to change? It's really just why class isn't displaying. We actually have some messages here. They're okay. Nothing to be concerned about on those. Class is still not showing. Why not? These are also anchored both sides. My position 0, that's fine, and 105. What if we just make these 200? 210, sorry. See if that makes a difference. We can always drag hack and slash down here and just launch it from there. Okay, we now have a class, and if I unlock it, it's now working. I'm not sure exactly what I had. We probably want to put some sort of slightly lighter coloured, maybe this colour here underneath the whole frame. I think it'll just make these just a little bit more legible. But I think we've pretty much got what we need here. So the class here, say fighter. We might have some other tweaks here where we center the text here. I still can't spell fighter. And we want to put in the correct text for all of these things. We're going to have to change these frames a little bit later on as well. But for the most part, our moves are finally finished, at least building out the basic framework for them. That video is a bit longer. Thanks for bearing with it. There's a lot of really important steps in there.